Ugh. Right, first things first, can everybody hear me? Yes, maybe, possibly. If I turn this off, people can see my work surface. Hello, people. Wow, that has been nearly a month that was, I suppose. I'm back. I was away on holiday, and then I was away with the jolly COVID, which I'm still getting over. You might be able to hear it in my voice. I'm still a little bit under the weather, but I'm okay. Thankfully. Well, what have I been up to? Yes, I've been on holiday. I've been to Sardinia, which was lovely. I was doing some watercolour painting there. If you go to my what's that thing with all the pictures that I put things on with the internet and the pictures and the Instagram? There we are. If you go to my Instagram, some of my watercolours are there. Not all of them. I'm not proud of all of them. I'm not even proud of the ones I posted, but those are the better ones. Anyway, Sardinia was lovely. If you get a chance to go to Sardinia, I heartily recommend it. The skies and the blue skies and the blue seas, there we are incredibly blue. Certainly worth looking at, and relatively cheap as well. So yeah, Sardinia, that was cool. Bought a lovely souvenir back from Sardinia, which was COVID. So that was pleasant, in a way that really wasn't. So I'm a little bit stuffed up at the moment, a little bit foggy, a little bit sort of fatigued, exhausted, still testing positive, I think. Well, as of this morning I was positive. Yeah, it's about as positive as I can be about it, actually. Yeah, I was positive this morning. Oh my god, it's hot. It's hot in Moog Central at the moment. Because I've got the window closed, because I live in a street that has houses and other people and children and bandsaws and orbital sanders and people who think it's a really cool idea to tune their exhausts on their cars so they're really, really loud. So I don't want to inflict any of that on you. So I've got my windows closed, so I'm suffering for my art. Yeah, I'm suffering. But it's going to be arty. Commander Otterson, my holiday was great, thank you very much. Mick, the machine, Moog, you sure you feel up to this tonight, mate? I don't know, we'll find out. Yes, in theory. I mean, I've been at work for the past couple of days, and I was more or less okay with that, so I should be able to manage a stream. But if I'm a little bit distracted, that's probably why. Nerd Storyteller, glad you could make it. I know you've been watching for quite a while, and you keep commenting on my streams and things, which is really cool. Thanks very much. I'm glad to see you in person, as it were. Not really in person, but you know what, live. So, hi. Under the weather is the only place anyone's going to be unless they're sort of in a plane, I suppose, which I was, but I'm not anymore. So, yeah, I'm under the weather, but you know. So, what am I going to do? What am I going to do today? I have things to do. I have made, in preparation for an event I'm no longer going to, a Chaos Rhino, which I was going to paint today. And this is a mix of official bits and 3D printed bits. Yeah, most of this stuff seems to be from Colts 3D, which is a free site online giving away free STLs. Except for this bit, which is from a producer called, I want to say Fleshcraft Studios. If I'm wrong, or even if I'm right, I'll put that in the comments, but I think it's Fleshcraft Studios, who does some awesome stuff, and I support them on Patreon. Yeah, Patreon. I have done away with my relationship with Patreon, for the time being, because they were being idiots and taking money out of the Patreon account to pay all the other people I was supporting before using that money to honour things like merch for Mick, who has been a stalwart supporter of me for, I suppose nearly a year now almost. and has got nothing out of the bargain. So I've broken up with Patreon for the minute until I can figure out how to make that work. But I've sorted out some merch, which I will be making sure Mick gets at some point. So we're going to be square on that point. That's what this thing's about. In the meantime, see the URL down the bottom here if you want to visit that. If you feel what I do is worth anything, there's no obligation or anything like that, you can put it there. YouTube doesn't get its grubby mitts on that, neither does Patreon, so anything that goes in there, so it says, I get, so yay. Right, shall we get cracking? What's everyone else been up to? I mean, it's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, something. So yeah, what's everyone else been up to? I know there are a bunch of people on the channel who will be going to the thing I was going to this weekend, which was a big narrative event being run by Say Hi Paul, who's another YouTuber. If you are not subscribed to his channel, I suggest you go and check him out. He's very much the same sort of style as I am, very rambly, slightly disjointed, but a lot of fun. And his focus is the narrative of the game. So he does a load of battle reports that are storytelling and stuff like that. I'm just moving things around on my desk at the moment. I've got no idea why. Where was I? Oh yes, that event that I'm not going to, but a bunch of people in the channel will be going to that. Completely lost track of where I was now. Wow, off to a flying start. Right, should we just get painting? Yeah, let's do that. Right, okay. Let's just check that my airbrush is still airbrushy. So I've not used it for a while. Oh, incredible. There's a tip with airbrushes, which is something I didn't do and should have done whilst I was away, is if you sort of... Let's turn it off a second. If you take it apart, at least take that bit off and that bit off. That might require a pliers or something. Mine does anyway, because that's properly good on there. And you just soak that in water while you're away. It'll make sure it doesn't get gummed up with anything. There's nothing in there that will rust. I'll say that again. There's nothing in there that should rust, depending on the quality of your airbrush. It should all be stainless steel and brass and things like that. So it should be fairly impervious to rust, but it keeps everything moist in there and stops things getting gummed up. Right, okay, let's get the show on the road here with some surface primer. That's for Yoho black, acrylic polyurethane. There we are. I can words. And that's what that will do, is it will form a tough barrier between the plastic and the rest of the paint that you're going to put on it. So that's why this is different to just regular paint that you might want to throw on a miniature. Whew, gosh, it's hot. And gosh, it was hot, wasn't it? It was hot the other day, hot a few days ago, like really seriously hot. I'm so grateful that I have a garden and things. However, my garden at the moment, I'm thinking of applying for a rewilding permit and grant, because not been able to do anything with it for about a month, and it's rewarded me by growing over. So that'll be a fun couple of afternoons when I'm healthy. This is a plain sort of black primer. If people don't know, I paint the Word Bearers Legion, so I'll be going over this with my Word Bearers recipe. What size needle am I using? This isn't a 0.5, this is a 0.3, which is a happy medium between the 0.2 and the 0.5. You can get some decent detail out of this. Yeah, if you're with a bit of control, I don't know whether you can see that. You can be very, very precise with it, or you can just pull back and go for it. So that's what I use. But I've found so much advice on the internet about airbrushes and what the settings should be and what bits of equipment that you should use, that I'm just of the opinion these days that it's a matter of personal preferences. And 0.5 is a good place to start. It's a good workhorse. It'll get most tasks done. But far more important than your needle size, I find, is the control you can exert with the trigger, and how sensitive that is, because that's where most of your control comes from. I think this is going to take a couple of sessions to do, even if I get the base coats down and start making headway with it now. I think what will probably end up happening is, because there's so much going on, I mean, there's braziers there and weathering to do and all sorts of stuff. I might actually come back to this over a few live streams over the next couple of weeks. I mean, even though it's sort of just a rhino, I do kind of like to go to town a little bit on the vehicles and such. My Land Raider for the Word Bearers is covered in demonic script, which actually says stuff. So that's how nuts I am. And I've just got my Death Guard Rhino. I'll just move that out of the way to dry a second. I'll get my Death Guard Rhino in shot. And this was done within the first couple of months of me restarting the hobby, so I could probably do better than this, but it shows that I like to go a little bit over the top with my vehicles and things. So it won't be anything like that, but yeah, I like to spend a bit of time on it. I use a 0.3 and struggle to get that wide spray. I don't know. Try upping the pressure a bit. I'm not an expert with micromanaging the settings and things on airbrushes at all, but that might help if you just raise the pressure a notch or two. I think I've got mine sitting around the between 16 and 20 bars, I think. So there's a bit of oomph behind it. Let's get that cleaned out. Appropriately disgusting. I do try. Let's give this my airbrush a little bit of a clean to get all the primer out. Still gunk in there. Where's my airbrush cleaner? There it is. Oh, that. Ooh, somebody tipped me something. Oh, thank you, Mick. It verified it working. It's supposed to make a noise. Maybe it did make a noise. Did it make a noise? It's supposed to make a noise and pop up with a message and things. Maybe I was looking away at the time. I know what it is. It's because I haven't got the sound turned on locally. I'd need to put my cans on to hear sound. And with the temperature at the moment, that's not going to happen. So if you said anything with that, Mick, pop it in chat and I'll see if I can respond to it. But thanks very much for that. That's lovely of you. Right, okay. I think we're going to go in with some Rhinox hide. I never quite get the balance right between thinner and paint when I'm using Games Workshop paints out of the pot for airbrush. But you know, it's a learning curve. But this kind of reddy brown makes a nice sort of base for that. Oh, that was probably a bit too much thinner. Yeah, that's probably not gonna be ideal. I need a stirry stick. Where's my stirry stick? There's my stirry stick. Stirry stick. Give that a bit of a stir. They say, they being other YouTubers, that the consistency you want to go for is about sort of skimmed milk consistency, which is all very well, but if you don't have skimmed milk, that's not much of a reference. There is no golden formula for it. There's a lot of trial and error to it, unfortunately. But you tend to get an eye for it, and that's more or less what you're looking for. So there's a good bit of mobility to that. I'm just gonna lay down some of that colour on there. See, it's going a little bit brown, and the sky is grey. For a walk, apologies, I stopped singing there. GW paints are going out of production. I'm not going to cry buckets about that, to be honest. I understand a lot of people use them. I don't. I tend to use a lot of Vallejo, Game Air, or I'll mix thinner into regular paints to get the appropriate consistency. But I don't tend to use a lot of the out of the bottle. Where's the background music? There should be background music. Why is there not background music? Can you not hear the background music? I'll turn up the background music a minute. Can you hear it now? Nerd Storyteller, thank you very much for the tip. I told you it's not popping up on my screen, and it should be. It's supposed to be some sort of animation that pops up saying, "Oh yes, there we are." Look in the corner. It says, "Last tip, a Nerd Storyteller." Thanks very much. So I'm glad to see that's working. I don't even know which of my selection of background music I'm playing at the moment. It's all from YouTube's library of music that has no words. Music that has no, well, it has no words certainly, but no royalties to attach to it. There we are, royalty-free music. So I'm sure there are many dozens of videos out there that have this very music on it, but I tried to choose something that was a little bit jazzy, a little bit bluesy. Oh, the animation did pop up. That's cool. Excellent. Right, I'm glad of that. I'm glad about that. A little bit jazzy, a little bit bluesy, a little bit sort of easy listening, and very much background. I may do a few without background music because I know some people prefer to play their own music whilst they're watching me hobby. And I can't hear the music anyway, so. So that might become a thing. Oh, these boarding shields are brilliant. I love them. And they're freely available on Cop 3D. If I remember, I will try and find the maker that does these and pop them on the in the comments. Because he's worth supporting, even though he doesn't actually charge anything. There are products that he does do, I think, if it's the same one. There are products that he does do and sell. Right. Okay. So there we are. There's a base coat of kind of mottled brown. Get in there. There we go. Yeah, I've overdone it with that paint. Never mind. That's a waste of paint. But we're not too worried. Cost of everything is going up, and fuel's up to, what is it, nearly £7 a gallon at the moment. So we'll waste a bit of paint. What does it matter? Oh, come on, clean out. That's thinner, I don't need that. Right, okay, let's reach into my box of tricks and pull out the next colour. The next colour will be missing. Yay! Oh, what's that? Oh, God. Stuck in the bottom of the... Oh. No, that's not it. Is that it? That's one of them. I'll put that there. My God, one of these days I'll be organised, and then everyone will faint. So, with that in mind, don't be operating heavy machinery whilst you're watching my stream, because if I ever am organised, I don't want to be responsible for any accidents. Is that it? Haha, that's it. Right, okay. Game out. BuyMeACoffee Scarlet Red, which is an approximation of corn red, but through an airbrush with the magic of science. So I'm not going to repeat the mistake. I'm going to go with less is more. Put a few drops of that in. Don't defy me. I was going to put a few drops in, but of course defiance happened. Anyway. There we are, cool. I'm going to do this more towards the top of the vehicle because I'm going to be going heavy on the weathering down the bottom, rust and what have you. So and by doing this, I've pretty much chosen the weathering technique I'm going to be using on for paint chipping and such. I mean, I could have gone in there with chipping medium and done things that way, but I've made the decision now that I'm going to be using a bit of sponge, and I'm going to be stippling on chip paint. He says, being unable to find his sponge because my desk is a bomb site at the moment. And this is the desk I work on as well. So, you know, but then I maintain a tidy desk is the sign of a sick mind. And if I ever tidied things away, I wouldn't be able to find them. So there you go, Wolf Corky. If you pull it straight back and give it a good old blast, you can get some good coverage on that. And you can also break bits off. There we're starting to get that classic sort of word bearers, dark crimsony red, and that's just what would be corn red over Rhinox hide, and it's the same colour scheme I use on my miniatures. Did I forget to I forgot to put some Rhinox hide on the back there? I'm sure. Anyway. I'll just give these boarding shields a blast of red. I probably won't have the same shade of red throughout, but it'll do for now. There's a blast of the red through there. There's going to be shadow and things cast by this wheel that this poor unfortunate soul stuck to. There you go. Right. Let's bring the highlighting up a little bit. What's that? That's my scarlet red. Where's my... There's another red I use. Where's the other red I use? Gore red! Which might be a better approximation of corn red. Yeah, okay, we won't use that. We won't use that. What we'll do is we'll stick a bit of this hot orange in there, just to bring the light value up a bit. Mixing stick, mixy. This is probably going to be really subtle, but that's okay. That's okay. And again, just hitting the tops of the plates, or near the tops of the plates, so there's a bit of a gradient going on there. Yeah, let's just a bit more. A lighter colour at the top. On the book of logo there. Whoo, it's hot in here. Oh, what we got here? When you start painting a model, do you see the finished product in your mind first, or is it more like a general idea that you try to emulate as you're painting? The latter, very much the latter. I have a vague idea of where I'm going. Do I know what colours I'm going to be using? Sure, if I've used them before on other miniatures that I want to keep it sort of cohesive for a force or something, yeah, I'll know what colours I want to use. But generally, a lot of this is seat of the pants painting. I'm making it up as I go along, and I think it shows. But yeah, I mean, it's a very organic process, for me at least. I know a lot of people sort of have their systems. I don't really have a system. I have a number of different ways I will do a particular colour, and it really is a bit of a crapshoot as to what technique I use at that time, depending on what paints I've got out, more or less. So there's no magic to it at all. No, I'm not some sort of clairvoyant at all. I don't see in my mind what the miniature will look like. I just get on with it and hope for the best. Cool. I think we'll take that up just one more notch with the paint that I've put somewhere. Oh, there it is. Right. Okay. Pokey stick, stirry stick. Pokey stirry, pokey stirry, pokey stirry. Pokey stirry, pokey stirry. Right, okay, so that's a bit more orangey. Just very light, go over the very tops of bits and just get the So you can see a little bit of gradient there, but that's mostly sort of wet and dry paint. Something I will say is I paint for the table, so I don't get mega fussy about really smooth gradients and things like that. I would rather things pop on the table than win a golden demon. I've not put any dust or anything on that, but just with the different colours I've used, it's already got that kind of semi-weathered, like it's been kicking up dust kind of effect on the underside of the armour there, and on the other side, which is kind of cool. Right, time to clean the brush. Put that aside for a sec. And wonder what I did with my... there we are. Right. It is a nice effect, and I'd love to say it was deliberate, but, you know, happy accidents is how I operate. Alright. So you guys painting at the moment, or what are you doing? You're just sort of watching me paint? Because I know there's occasionally a hobby night thing that happens on Paul's Discord. But that's on a Monday night, not a Wednesday night. So I'd be curious to hear what you guys are doing. Are you going to be investing in Horus Heresy or anything? So I must admit I've looked at it and I thought, well, what's Destination Valhalla? Where are you seeing that, mate? Where are you seeing that? What the deuce? Huh? No, you're going to have to help me out there, Mick. On the right arm of me? Oh! Of that! It's a promotional band for some beard care products I used to use. Don't even know where I got that. I must have found it in a box and stuck it on and not thought anything else about it. But yeah, that's what that is. Beard brand, I think. Beard brand? Yeah, beard brand. Or the Beard Struggle, one or the other. Might be the one that Liam Dempsey sponsors, or is sponsored by. So, the Beard Struggle. A TTRPG? What TT? What is TT? You're going to have to help me out with that one, Nerd Storyteller. What is a TTRPG? RPG, I understand. Rocket Propelled Grenade, that's all clear. Right, okay, that's the... Oh, tabletop! Of course. No, when I think of TTRPG, it's I usually think in terms of pen and paper, so PNP RPG. So that would be my tabletop. But yeah, TTRPG. That makes sense now. What was I painting? Oh, this thing. Right. Yes. Right. I've cleared out the airbrush, and we can now start looking at doing some other stuff. I'm going to switch off the airbrush now. And I'm going to have a look for a brand new brush somewhere. What's that? That's a number 2. So we'll go with a brand new number 2. That's a number 0. I know 0 is not a number. It's a free man. You are number 6. Number 6. Oh, that takes me back. I'm going to listen to that later. I am number 2, who is number 1. Bit of Maiden. Gotta get a bit of Maiden going on. Right. And now we get the glasses on because I can't see to paint. And also we have a drink of water because, like I say, it's hot in here. Character sheets are digital instead of on paper. Oh, do you use Roll20 or something like that? Or that seems a bit hectic for someone who's trying to watch a stream as well. Still not sponsored by water. Little in joke for the Say Hi Paul members there. Right, let's have a look. What can we go? What can we do next? Where can we go next? I think we need to. I mean, there's a lot of metallic that needs to go on there, so we'll do that next. Yeah, let's do the metallics. Maybe block some of the black colours back in. So let's go in with a bit of Discord as dice rolling bots. Oh, of course it does. Of course it does. I mean, why wouldn't it? So it's a level of technological terror I'm not familiar with. Discord and bots and things. One minute they're all playing nice, the next minute they're taking over the world. Right, so let's get some. This is black template. So I'm just blacking out some of the metallic bits. Straight out of the pot. Let's just, here we are. To say I was sort of blocking in there were some of the metallic bits. I've gone a little bit too detailed here. I shouldn't really be doing this. I'll do this later. But yeah, started, so I finish. There we are. How cool is that? Right. Oh, Commander Autism, how's your other half doing? I read the note earlier on today that she got in for some tests. She's doing all right? You're possibly not listening anymore. Anyway, if you are, I hope she's doing all right. Post on Discord, she's okay. Oh, that's good news. That's good news. Oh, COVID. COVID everywhere. COVID everywhere. Still, thankfully these days it doesn't seem to be so much of a big deal for most people. However, best to be on the safe side, I think. Confirm that it was COVID, is that? Or it is COVID? Oh, bless her. Oh, I wish her well for me. It's a whole lot of no fun, that. And I hope she's okay with it. And I know that these days, you know, it's most times it's just like a bad cold, and it was for me really. Just a bad cold and a bit achy and exhaustion. But it's no fun in anyone's language. I mean, you can probably hear that I'm still sniffing, and that's a week and a bit on, nearly 2 weeks. I think this is possibly supposed to be wood or something, that this, the outer edge of this wheel is, but it's going to be iron now. The original model that this torture wheel came from was, or is, a proxy for the Morngast, I think it is, the big Age of Sigmar ghost thing. A proxy for that, and the torture wheel was on its back. And I thought, no, I'm going to print one of those out, and I'm going to nail somebody to the front of a rhino, because, you know, I can. I'm like that. That's how I roll. And I do like 3D printing, because you can get one of the things like this. Games Workshop does not do things like this, and they are really, really fiddly to make with Games Workshop miniatures. So being able to 3D print an ultramarine with a spike through them is really quite useful. And I did think about sticking this on the front of on the rhino somewhere. I was also going to use it as the banner for my my word bearers for the event at the weekend, but sadly I don't need to worry about that anymore. There will be other events. I mean, the next one I'm planning to be at is in October. Yeah, isn't it amazing? There's a whole range of night lords. They're a legion, aren't they? Night lords, yeah. Night lords related casualties and torture victims and things. And there's another one that's the other way up, but the spear snapped off that dude. And that's all from that one modeler. So I'll definitely look that up and stick it in the comment in the description for the video later, because he does some good stuff. If you own a 3D printer, or as I would recommend, finding a friend who owns a 3D printer, because they are a hobby in their own right, and they require an awful lot of fiddling, or can do. And if you've got a friend to do all the fiddling for you, it takes a lot of the work out of it. CA, like I say, I'll stick the link to this guy in the description for the video, and I will remember to do that. Or if I don't remember to do that, somebody poke me on Discord, and I will do that thing. Because he does the silly bat hats and custom Night Lord chests, and Everything you could possibly need for Night Lords. Where's that? There we are. That's right. Ignoring the cloak, which is a bit naff. This is one of his as well, I think. And this is my first ever Night Lord. Obviously I didn't do a particularly good job of him. He's mostly covered in shiny blood, as you would be. But yeah, that's one of his. No plans to paint Night Lords. I just thought, well, okay, let's find a Legion and paint it. Somebody suggested salamanders the other night, so whilst I was riddled with COVID, I painted a salamander as well. So, and that's a 3D printed miniature. I think pretty cool. Paint job's a little bit ropey, but the miniature itself is it holds up, and it's a decent scale next to Primaris and stuff as well. That's close. That beaky marine there is close to the new scale beakies that the Games Workshop brought out. Oh, and these chain glaive things, that's a separate file, or you can get that as a separate file with a hand, so you can stick them on whatever marines you want. As I have done. Where is it? Where is it? Come on, where is it? I put him somewhere. Oh, there he is. In Mark 4 armour. With a chain glaive. Is that Mark 4 or Mark 5? Mark 5, I think. Who even knows these days? Right. Let's get that inked in. Done a lot of talking and not a lot of painting. So if you're here for the painting, I do apologise for that. Right. The side of that shield has got something weird going on. It looks like metal plating. So let's get that. Get a bit of darker colour going on that. I think I might have watered my paints down a bit too much for that. Right. I'm just painting the spikes, which are going to be metal and spiky. Right. Let's get some actual black on that metallic there. New Blood Angels character for Horus Heresy. Which one was that? I must admit, I've not really been keeping up with Horus Heresy because I'm trying to avoid it. Because I know if I get too into it, I'll end up buying it and that'll be another rabbit hole. And I can't afford another rabbit hole at the moment. As much as I may want to, because the rule system for Horus Heresy looks brilliant and it's what I'm used to playing from way back in the day, and I want it and I want it, I want it. But bank balance says no. And I'm listening to it this time. Dee dee dee. Look at the HH model. So do I. So do I. Well, I mean, they're basically just regular Marines, and I think I wouldn't be at all surprised if the Firstborn range gets folded into Horus Heresy as a thing. While still being usable by both. Because obviously not all of the Firstborn Marines will be usable in Horus Heresy, because I mean, they were using Mark 7 armor, I think, towards the end of the Horus Heresy. But there wouldn't have been many of the traitors with that armour on. And if you're wanting to play the battles of the early Heresy, it's going to look a little bit wrong if they're all wearing Mark 7 armour. Let alone Mark 8 or Mark 9. Which I suppose is one of the drawbacks to Horus Heresy, because you will get that kind of nerd, which I am occasionally myself, that kind of nerd. Who will say, oh well, they're wearing the wrong armour for the me. And there's a big part of me that says, come on guys, it's a game. It doesn't matter, you don't need exactly the right armour, but you know, that's some people's bag, and I kind of get that. But at the same time, I know Paul's got some issues with Horus Heresy, and he's not particularly interested in playing it because, as he sees it, it'll be too restrictive because the setting's all tied up with lore and all the battles have already happened. I mean, I kind of get that, but at the same time, not all the battles will have been codified. We're talking about a setting that's a million stars, and the battle raged across, you know, all of them. So whilst the word bearers might never have faced the somebody give me a loyalist legion. Well, they would have faced the Ultramarines many times because they don't like each other. Yeah, the word bearers haven't faced the Dark Angels or whatever at that particular time, at that particular area, but they might have faced them somewhere else. There may have been a border skirmish, and when you're playing a game on the table, you are playing a snapshot of a wider battle. So whilst the Ultramarines might have won this particular engagement on the planet, it doesn't matter if your word bearers roll over the ultramarines on the table. That's just one part of the planet, one part of the big battle. You're looking at a snapshot. That's how I look at it anyway. So, the way I see it, there's an awful lot of flexibility to it. It's as flexible as you want to be, really. I'd love to see rules for orcs and Eldar and stuff. I know there weren't really orcs around during the Horus Heresy because they've been battered, and Eldar were doing Eldar things, but it'd be kind of cool to see them. Right, let's get some metallics on there. Vallejo Duraluminium is my go-to for all things metallic. And do you know what? No, yeah, we are going to use it. I did think for a moment I was going to use some Canuctic alloy there, which is what I use for the trim on my Word Bearer Marines, but I won't. We'll use the duraluminium. Oh, I've got a song stuck in my head. Why have I got a song stuck in my head? It's because I'm not listening to the music on the streams, what it is. Oops. Quick, 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 quick. Later. It don't matter. It don't matter. Oh, I'm not even sure who sang the song that's going through my head. It's not the sort of song you'd think would be going through my head. I will tell you that for free. I listen to a wide variety of music, some of which is roundly shunned by many, many people, and they look at me and they go, "What?" Because you would never suspect it by looking at me. I would listen to this sort of music. It's not even the sort of music I play. When I am playing and singing, I do not usually play and sing this type of music. Barbara Streisand. No, not quite Barbara Streisand or Barry Manilow. Although, probably that level of surprising. Hello Jamie, how you doing? As you've shown up late, if you could just bring your note to the front of the class and explain to the class why you were late. How am I? I've been over this to see if you'd arrived on time. You'd know how I am. I'm mostly recovered from COVID. Mostly. Still a bit sniffy. Still a bit sort of out there, but you know. Busy packing. Busy packing. You're off on your holiday. Oh, right, okay, yeah, I know what you're doing. Yes, you probably do need to pack. Ooh, a spiked head on top of there. He didn't have a very good time, did he? We've got torches and all sorts of things on there. So yeah, this might be a multi thing, a multi-session one. There's a lot of techniques. I'm probably not going to get to the flames in this session, or if I do, it won't be able to do them justice. So it might be another session. Yeah, rather than painting, let's get that one done. Yes, apologise for the half-finished sentence there. This is what I do. Yeah, rather than painting each individual bit of metal with a brush, I'm just going to do the trim and then go for a different brush, and we'll get a bit of a dry brush going on, which should speed things up no end. Right. This is an old dead makeup brush, I think. Angled eyeshadow brush 14. So there we go. Right, let's get that on there. Get the worst of it off. You don't want your brush too dry, so you still want a little bit of moisture left in there, otherwise you just get powder everywhere. And then suddenly, when you go over that, oh gosh, that looks good. It looks much better than just painting it with a paintbrush, which is obviously still what I'm doing, but you know what I mean. And things happen a lot quicker when you do it like this. If there's a corner to be cut, cut it. Why make life difficult for you? I'm covered in cat scratches. It's like a... Ugh. Anyone would think I own a cat. Readers, I do own a cat. So I have a cat that tolerates my presence in the house. So ownership is a matter of hot debate. What's the cat called? I'm not sure I can say that on air. Oh, you mean what's he supposed to be called? What's his name? His name's Puka, which is the name of a Celtic animal spirit, a mischievous animal spirit. And when I got it, it seemed particularly appropriate. Pukas are normally associated with horses. They appear as horses, but yet it seems sort of appropriate. Not because he's the size of a horse or anything like that, but because he's a mischievous animal. Or was. He's getting on a bit now. Now he's just noisy and demanding and... Oh, I can relate to that. I'm getting on a bit and I'm noisy and demanding. There we are. I think we're probably gonna, yeah, let's do the tracks as well while we're here. I didn't really want to do the tracks in silver. I was going to do them in a brown colour. But seeing as we got the silver out, we might as well just hit up and get the impression of what the tracks are going to vaguely look like. Really, I'm done with this COVID cold flu thing. Bored with it now. Oh, there's some things around the back there. I need some more paint. A little bit more paint. Let's not do that. Don't do that. Stop doing that. Don't do that. Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Stop that. Oh, you're still doing it. Why are you doing it? I was talking to myself though, in case anyone was worried about my sanity, because I was doing something I didn't want to do, so I was telling myself not to do it, and I wasn't listening. Which happens a lot and explains much. Whew. You know what, I think the noise has died down outside, so if you bear with me a sec, I'm going to open a window because it is seriously warm in here now. Uncomfortably warm. Open a window. Oh, a little bit of breeze. Open the door. Oh, there's the cat. What? What do you want? What? You're just going to be noisy. Alright. Oh, cometh the hour, cometh the cat. Right. Right, I think that's all the metallics that I want to do done. So give that a quick once over with the brush so I can pick out the star. Here we are. That brush. Apologies for the lack of autofocus. That looks terrible when it's down there, but I'll bring it up so you can focus on it. And it'll still look terrible because it's nowhere near finished. Many spikes. Right, what next? We are going to get some of my brown liquid going on. We're also going to throw that over the room apparently because the lid's not on properly. How did that happen? Yeah. Right, okay. Yep. Some of that splurged out there. This is what even's in this? Agrax Earthshade, Seraphim Sepia, Lamium Medium, and a little bit of not that. The blue one. Not that one. Games Workshop's blue ink. Drakenhof Nightshade, there we are. Just to cool it down a bit. Get in there with an old number 6 brush. And slosh that over the metallics. It doesn't give it a rusty appearance, but it does give it a sort of an oily, weathered appearance. This is a good sort of all-over wash for sticking on everything. It just dirties and grimdarks everything down a bit. And as viewers of my channel know, I'm a fan of the dirty and the grimdark. So that's just sort of staining the metal and knocking the shininess of it down a bit. Appears to be some sort of parchment or something in there. I'll have to do that in a bit. I'm not going to go all over this thing, but I am going to try and get a little bit of grime where grime would collect. And this sort of doubles as a shade as well. And it will also highlight those, or at least accent the rivets on the armour as well, which does a lot to help the miniature pop, actually, a surprising amount. For such a little thing. A bit more pin shading in there. Pin shading, he says. Call it pin shading, I can call it inexpert flailing with a number 6 brush and some ink. But hey, if it looks good, it looks good. And it doesn't look terrible. And this is not going to be anywhere close to the limit of the weather I'm going to put on this. There's going to be an awful lot of products used, I dare say, before I'm finished. But this gets the first layer down anyway. And it gets the model talking that sort of grimdark language, which is always a good thing. Yeah, I definitely think that was supposed to be wood, this wheel. Never mind. It won't look like wood when I'm done. It will look like nasty, rusty iron. Excuse me. That's the other thing, the problem with having the window open is the pollen carries through the roof. Ugh. Right, it's starting to talk that language, isn't it? It is starting to talk that language. Right, let's see if I can find my bit of sponge. I mean, that is a little bit of sponge, but that might be too little a bit of sponge. Yeah, that might be too little a bit, but we'll give it a go. Right, so Rhinox hide and a little bit of sponge, and we're going to start doing some chipping around the edge of the armour of this thing. So that just goes straight in there. You want to get the worst of it off. Let's find a lighter colour bit so you can see what's going on here. There we are, in the corner. So you dab that on and you get little speckles. Oh, you can't even see. You'll see on the miniature. Little speckles of brown paint when you stipple that on. And what it will do, if you get it in the right sort of areas where chips will fly up and take chunks off the paint and such, and that's what it will read as. Chipped paint. And we'll hit that up with some metallic as well in a bit, which will set it off even more. I was impressed with how you transformed dull grey plastic into something that looks so realistic. Oh, thank you. Tell you what my secret is. My secret is watching an awful lot of YouTube videos. Because when I started doing this, well, restarted doing this hobby nearly 2 years ago, the last time I had painted a miniature was back in the 90s, or possibly early 2000s. Certainly not any time recent. And back then, we didn't have the wonder of YouTube. We had the internet, but that was used for sharing other things. We didn't have the wonders of YouTube. So you had the painting techniques that people were using at your local games workshop or hobby club, and whatever those people would want to share with you, and that was it. And you were left to your own devices for the rest of it. YouTube is possibly one of the best hobby tutoring tutorial tools in existence. It's certainly what's taught me the majority of what I do is other YouTubers. The likes of Marco Frizzoni, Ninjon, watched a lot of his stuff as well. Grimdark Compendium. Grimdark Compendium is very, very good and well worth a watch. He does a lot of the stuff that I really get a kick out of. So it leans heavily into the weathering and the subdued colours and the nastiness of it all. And that's what I'm all about. I want my miniatures to look like they've stepped off a 40k battlefield, not a parade ground. So you can see what I'm doing there. I'm just hitting it up with a bit of dust and... Oops. Didn't mean to do that. No, we'll dress it up later. That's fine. Chip paint. you don't need to worry about it too much. What doesn't read as chip paint is going to read as grime and filth that's built up over the many hundreds of years these vehicles have been in service. And Chaos Marines don't really care about painting their vehicles much. Particularly something like this probably didn't even start off as a word bearer as Rhino, because it's the newer pattern. Most of their Rhinos are with the old Deimos pattern that came with the Legion. Right. The old Deimos pattern that back in the day used to be £5 for £3 £5 for 3 Rhinos. You couldn't even. Right. So I've got a little bit of the metallic paint there, and I'm just going back over some of the areas where I've got the dark dull paint, the Rhinox hide, and I'm just hitting up, creating little areas of flecks of interest. Flecks of interest? Does interest come in flecks? It does now. It does now. Possibly need to use a bigger bit of sponge here, but I can't find one. Right. And again, where little bits are likely to leap up and chip off bits of paint, so around the tracks, the underside of the, maybe on the corners of the armour, just like that, instant boom, chip paint. Not so much on the boarding shields, because they tend to have power fields around them, so they're not going to chip as readily. Less can be more when it comes to weathering and chipping, particularly. It depends how battered you want your final piece to look. I mean, this may look a little bit bright now, but you can always dull that down with a little bit of wash later. So, right, there's a foot plate, so that one needs a bit of extra going over. And again, around the hinges, because they're going to see regular use, so they need to pop. And there's a hinge on that hatch as well, which needs a little bit of dabbing around there as well. Maybe where the crew have been standing on the top of the vehicle needs a little bit of going over as well. I probably will dull this down with a little bit more of the wash in a sec, but you get the impression, you get the idea. And this technique will work on miniatures as well. You just got to be a bit more careful about how and where and things that you use it. I don't tend to use it on Space Marines, although a lot of people do. I don't use it because, in my mind at least, Space Marine armour is made out of ceramite, which isn't a metal. So there wouldn't be spots of metal all over that. There we are. a bit more weathering around the bottom there. Try to keep it fairly irregular, otherwise it'll look painted on. Which of course it is, but you know what I mean. That's what you want to try and avoid. There we go. I think that's enough for the silver. We are going to go on with a bit of... What should we go on with next? What shall we do? What shall we do? We will go and reach for the... Ugh. This is the evening of stuff leaking. Ugh, right, okay, we won't do that just yet. What we'll do is we'll just dull down some of those areas where they're a little bit too bright. Just dull them down with a bit of wash. There we are. Too bright. I mean, you want a few bright spots here and there to represent fresh metal and to catch the eye. But generally, most of your damage is going to be old, so you want to dull it down a bit. Brother Blobbermus. Oh. He sounds like a Nurgle dude if ever there was. I missed out the spikes on the back for my my wash run earlier, so we'll get that done now. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to reach for something I don't use very often, and that's typhus corrosion. Give it a quick whiz on the paint shaker. This stuff is cool. It is really useful, but we're going to go easy with it. And we just want to pop this where there's likely to be a build-up of oil and grime and general nastiness. So we're looking around where these plates meet. Oop. Yeah, let's just throw the brush away. Go in there carefully but heavily, because I mean there's texture in this, which is the point of using this particular paint. There's a texture which really does lend itself to looking like built up grime and oiliness. If any of you have experience with farm machinery or machinery that often gets left out for long periods of time, and is maintained by actual mechanics in the field, you will get these build-ups of oily grime and stuff on the top, and that's what we're trying to recreate. Anywhere that grease, grime and soot is likely to fall back onto the tank, mixed with rain and start to streak. In there's a nice area that's going to be ripe for it. Can you actually see what I'm doing? You maybe can now. So I'm getting back into working where I'm not working over myself. It's I'll get there. I don't know whether you can see with the typhus corrosion, there's a very fine sort of powdery crud in there. It's possibly one of the best technical paints that GW do in the typhus corrosion, in terms of what you can use it for and how good it looks. I'm sure there are other products out there that will do a similar thing, but I've not found one yet that does it quite as well. And you may take that as high praise, because I don't tend to use a lot of GW paints if I can help it. He says having mostly used GW paints on this. But particularly for weathering and things like that, I tend to reach for other products. But typhus corrosion is pretty good. So your finger in there, just wipe off the typhus corrosion so you've got a little bit of extra sort of organicness to it all. Around the hinges, because I suspect they might have been oiled once, maybe. Right, there we go. Maybe around the edge, down the bottom of the yeah, we'll go around the bottom of the spikes as well. Go. Oh, did we not get any in there? Right, okay. Ram it in there. There we are. And there. Stick a bit on the actual spikes themselves. Maybe a little bit just to break up the, add a bit more interest to the colour. get some on the Catherine wheel. That's what it's called, Catherine wheel. So let's get extra texture and stuff. Texture is really good for Grimdark. This stuff, however good it is, destroys brushes. There's no way around that. It will destroy the brush. So don't use that with a brand new brush like I did, but this is a cheap brush, so I don't care. Typhus corrosion will destroy your brush even more quickly than the other technical paints with texture stuff in them, because the texture is so fine. So that is something of which you need to be aware. I think what we'll do now is we'll get a bit of Moog oil and grease stain mixture on there, and that will mix really, really well with the Typhus corrosion. And I almost dipped that in the water. You don't want to do that with this because this is an enamel. So this is white spirit territory, wherever I left my white spirit. There it is, I've seen it. Right. Right. Add that round where you got a lot of the build up of the Typhus corrosion, and that will just read even more like an oil spill. Especially when you get a bit of white spirit on there to thin it down a bit. And around the tops of the stacks. Oof. Yeah, it really does corrupt the brushes. I think I might be coming to the end of this live stream. I've been not done too badly. I've done my usual 2 hours, but it's got to the point where I'm just sniffing into the microphone, which is pleasant for nobody. So I think what I might do in a minute, once I've got this stage done, and maybe put a bit of white spirit on there to thin things down a bit, is I will call it a night, and I will return to this at a later date, possibly next week, where I will finish off what needs doing and do the torches and things, maybe a little bit of OSL, who knows. But that's certainly coming along. Right, okay, let's get the white spirit so we can get a bit of thinner going on. Right, where did we put it? Put it over there. Let's pour a bit of that out. Stick it over there. And you can see where that's all that build up round there. Once you hit that with a bit of white spirit, it thins it right down, sends it into all the crevices, and gets things looking a lot more oil spill like. The white spirit will dry, but you'll still get a tiny bit of that sort of slick shine. So it will still look like spilled oil. Ooh. There we go. And that doesn't that look like engine grease and grit and stuff and build up? It's just, oh, love it. Love it. Right, okay. Yeah, I'm just sniffing into the microphone now, so I'm going to call it a day. Oh my. Right. You lot, thanks very much for dropping by. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. There'll be more of the same. If you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing if you're not a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, you know, I'm not going to hold that against you, but you know, you've discovered me now, so subscribe away. That'd be great. Special thanks to Nerd Storyteller and to Mick for their wonderful tips. I'm glad to see that little mechanic's working. And I will see you guys next week, I suppose. Yeah, like, subscribe, and I've got a massive back catalogue now if you want to go back through that and like and subscribe and comment and all sorts of stuff. I do answer most of the comments that I see, if they're not too off colour. So yeah, I shall bid you a fond farewell and probably go to bed now because, you know, yeah. Catch you guys later. Y'all have fun out there.